going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I decided while I was in quarantine I would review Graham Stephan's latest video about the 2020 recession and his thoughts about it. And in this video I just wanted to let you guys know that this is like my thoughts that I just took away from his video. So I am not telling you guys to go do anything. I'm just letting you guys know strictly just my thoughts and what my opinion is about everything. And in this video, when I was watching it earlier, he talks about a lot of things that, I brought up in the past video that I posted on my channel about the fact that, we don't know what's going to happen. All we do know is that the stock market is declining, and it is a good time to, go ahead and dump some money into there if you have not done already, just because, a lot of people always say, like I said in the previous video again, oh, I wish I invested when, the stock was low. You just have to, in my opinion, focus on some companies that you think the government will end up bailing out. So like, for example, flights, Ford Motors, and any motor vehicles, and, big companies that mean a lot to our economy. That's something the government will end up, be willing to bail out, in my opinion, like they did with GM back in the day. So I think those are the stocks that you guys should focus on if you guys are interested in any stocks, because you don't want to focus on a company that, might be filing bankruptcy and might not make it out, and the government might not be willing to go ahead and, bail them out of it. So let's go ahead and look at this clip. I'm not going to review the whole entire video, but a few clips that he chats about in the video. Let's go ahead and start over here on this one, where he starts to talk about Delta and their stock.
Rise in income. Then after travel restrictions were put in place and airline stocks dropped faster than my view count on a video, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates again to a rate not last seen since the 2008 Great Recession. And even with all of that, the stock market still declined. Now, obviously, I'm leaving a lot out of this just as a way to simplify the situation as much as possible. But the gist of it is that the impact of businesses closing down and people losing their jobs and not spending money could have a very long-standing impact on our economy. Not to mention, we're not exactly sure how long this is going to be going on for, and that uncertainty is driving us to check stock prices every few minutes and to make sure Robinhood is still working. And I just checked, Robinhood is still working.
So again, like he just said, we do not know. There's a bunch of uncertainty in this market right now, with everything that is going on. We don't know which direction it is going to go, whether they find maybe a vaccine that might help slow the virus down and there's its symptoms and whatnot, and kind of help kill the virus. Then this market might take a turn in our favor. If nothing comes out and it just sticks like the way it is right now, then we might be holding on to it for a little bit longer than we anticipated. So I mean, let's go ahead and continue watching the video and see what else he chats about and what we could take from it.
So with that mini 1 month history lesson out of the way, and with stocks down about 30% from their peak, let's go ahead and take a look at other bear markets and crashes just to see how this is compared. And of course, to do that, we're going to be going all the way back before 1929 to the wonderful year of 1907. This is a time where the stock market dropped 50% in value after the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, where heavy insurance payouts led to gold being withdrawn from the banks and lending requirements suddenly became a lot more strict. That caused people to panic about liquidity within banks, and when two trust companies were rumored to have speculated in a failed copper business, people panicked and began withdrawing their money from the banks in rapid numbers. That situation led to the monetary policies that we have today, otherwise known as what's called the Federal Reserve. After that, however, the market saw a wonderful surge in prices yet again as people regained their confidence in the economy, which saw a 193% increase in price within less than 4 years. That was, however, until the Great Depression of 1929, and here's what happened. After the roaring 1920s, money was pretty much pouring out of every crevice, and for lack of a better word, people were leveraging their money way too much and borrowing way too much to invest back into the stock market, so much so that the Federal Reserve was warning people like, hey, this probably isn't sustainable, guys, not a good idea, don't do this. The issue with this was that banks were so loosely lending money to people that pretty much anyone could go and borrow money for the purposes of investing in the markets, because the markets and stonks only go up, right? Well, even though the exact catalyst of the crash is unknown, alone. Some theories suggest that a rise in interest rates faltered people's confidence in the market and began spurring people to sell off. Others say it was due to an overproduction in agriculture, which caused those companies to go and sell that product at a loss, hurting profits. And during all of this, many other economists were suggesting and theorizing that not enough people were smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, once the stock market showed even the smallest glimpse of vulnerability, people began selling at rapid levels and began withdrawing their money out of the banks for fear that the banks would be going out of business. However, banks...
So I'm going to stop over here and just kind of, go over it for a second or two. But so the thing is, the difference between what we're going through currently right now with this coronavirus and what's happened previously in the past is the fact that we have never really seen something like we are seeing today, something that we've never experienced before. So we don't know how to handle it. What's happened previously in the past, like where banks are lending bad loans in 08 or even back in the day, I mean, it's a whole different ball game. Nowadays, our banks are lending more at a, conservative side, and they only lend to the people that are actually able to, acquire that loan. And if they weren't able to acquire that loan, they'll just go ahead and deny them. So, I mean, that's why I think it's two separate, ball games that we are comparing, and that as long as we could, have a little bit of a cure, a vaccine or something to kind of help this pandemic, it could actually just, go over, we could forget about it, and then, we'll be prepared, if there is a next one in the future. Let's go ahead and keep watching, see what else he has to say.
Were at a bit of a standstill because they had invested and loaned out all of their money, and they were unable to give people their own money back. That led to the stock market dropping 83% over 2.8 years, with a nearly 25% unemployment rate among Americans. And even as the stock market slowly began to climb back from its free fall, many people still remained unemployed, and the economy was basically just picking up the pieces again to eventually rebuild. Then
Alright guys, well, I'm going to just end it here. I'm going to leave the link to his video in my description, just so you guys could go ahead and show some love to him and, actually end up watching the whole entire video and see what you guys like from it. Go ahead and shoot me a DM, message, or whatever, just to let me know what you guys' thoughts were, and if you guys have any questions for me, and we could see what happens in the next few days. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Go ahead and take care, stay safe, and make sure to like and subscribe.